Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems somehow that maybe I started off on a different platform or so. Hey, Jody, how you doing? Can you see me? Where are you? You're down there. Why are you down there? Come up higher. Come up to the top. Hey,
Hi, Silver. Good evening.
listen, you won't believe what I did actually. Um, I made a big boo boo. I
Mm-hmm.
was, I was there starting the show on a different thread.
So where were you? Instagram?
No, 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 no. I was still here. I was still here on this, but somehow I
Mm-hmm.
started on a different thread. You understand that thread is like there's a different platform which I started on. So that's why I was finding some person was calling me and I was saying, why nobody's coming in actually? And then I
Mm-hmm.
realized that it was the wrong thread which I started on. There I'm wondering why the thing was flashing and giving me some sort of hiccups. So therefore, welcome. I guess let's start off again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you so much joining me tonight on the talking sip with my good friend Jody. And let me start afresh again with the music because somehow it we can you see any flashing light? Can you see some flashing light?
No.
Yeah,
Hold
it's in a
on.
flashing light. Okay, that's all right.
No flashing lights. We look worried.
You good from your side? Okay. Let me just test something here. One, two.
Is everyone else hearing us though and seeing us? Is the
Yeah, yeah.
question.
Can you hear that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's very correct. 10:45 p.m. Yes, that's good. Jamaica, USA. Um, let me just get this right. Okay, good. Anyway, Jordy, how are you doing? How's your day? How is Jamaica? How is Jamrock?
Silver, somehow your live on YouTube is not coming up.
My live one, yeah, it is. It is actually. I'm watching it. I'm watching it.
It is?
Yeah, I'm actually watching it from.
Well, I just logged in and it's not coming up.
Yeah, it's there. I'm looking at it straight there. Boom, on my thing there. Sometimes it might take a little while to come up, if anything. The
All right,
link.
let's just see.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Well, I started off earlier on the other platform, which I started off incorrectly, and was talking about Black history, where Black
Yes.
history emanated from. And and one of the things that I was looking at in the for the United States of America, the story behind Black history and why it's celebrated in February. Um,
Do
and
they
it,
call it Black History or African American Month?
well, they said every February the U.S. honors the contribution and sacrifice of African Americans. As at first, it was Negro History Week.
Yeah. So
Critics have
it's
argued,
changed over time.
yeah, Black history should be taught and celebrated year round um, during 1 month each year. Um, so let me just say that the actually we had to stop and start again. So if you go online, you'll actually see. Just click on the link and you'll find it. I'm just saying, to person on Instagram, we had a slight glitch there, so it had to rewind again. As I say, wheel and come again, my selector. You know what I'm trying to say? It's reggae month, you know what I mean? So we have to drop it on the reggae style. You know what I'm saying? Vanessa McLean, I can see you, but I can't. I'm not seeing your image there. If you want to come in, um, yeah, it
I
it
think it
it,
was delayed, Silburn, because mine just came up.
it just came up and
I
stuff
think
like
it was delayed. Yeah.
it was delayed. Hey, hey, where are you, Vanessa? Where are you? You're in some country? Well, you must be in a country, of course. You're not in space.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? Where am I?
Where are you, Jeremiah?
Sounds like it's a secret. Hi, Vanessa.
I.
See, can you go?
Where am I? Where am I?
Can you go into the pool? Can you go into the pool?
Me
Yeah,
in
go.
all this
Go.
clothes and interest. No, I would lose my black historyness right now because I'm going to lose my head wrap.
All right, you don't want to do that.
No, I want to keep it black and real.
Yeah, yeah. The welcome back. Just to say, we started off on a glitch. We started off on a wrong thread, or so. So here we are back again. Um, I was just starting. I was talking about the Black history and the original bit about Black history. What were you saying again, Jody? And then go on to Venice.
No, I had listened to your initial introduction.
Yeah,
And then I was saying, no, what we were just talking about, is it Black History in the US or African American Month? I think the name has changed over a period of time.
yes, yes, yes. Um, well, what they say, it was first Negro History Week.
Hmm.
Critics have long argued that Black history should be taught and celebrated year round. It was Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, who first set out in 1926 to designate the time to set it up. You know what I'm saying? But the question
Hmm.
is, why was February was chosen as a Black History Month? And this is what I was finding out, that it was because the second week of the month coincided with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Lincoln was influential in the emancipation of slaves, and Douglass, a former slave, was a prominent leader in the abolitionist movement, which is fought to end slavery. Some guys who are critics of Black History Month and saying we shouldn't be celebrating Black history just 1 month of the year. And the 1 month of the year is the shortest month of the year. And we're saying they give us even the less days of all of them. And but unless one understand where it's coming from, when one wouldn't know. And that is where they're talking about where it came from, where Black history came from. And for the UK, it was another thing. But yeah, I throw that one out there. Yeah, Vanessa.
Well,
Oh yeah.
go ahead, Vanessa.
Mm.
I am just trying to get the speed up um um to make sure that persons are seeing the live because it's one of the most important
Yeah,
lives for
Jody.
the rest.
Yeah,
And
Jody.
as
While we
you're
are,
saying,
yeah, go on.
that where the history of Black history is coming from, that you know um I'm just saying it doesn't matter if it's short or if it's long. It has a background to it, and we're celebrating Black history, and it has to be celebrated in its historical context with the background. So I mean, I have no bones with it being February. I have no
Mm.
bones with it being February. It's just that my issue though is we have reggae month as Jamaica as well with Black history, and I mean they coincide. And I'm wondering if how do we celebrate it? To celebrate it here, we celebrate it piecemeal, because what is the focus when we want to have a whole month for celebrating reggae? I, I know it has an international context and we feed into that globally, but then we want to celebrate a whole month of reggae, which is our local genre,
All
and
right.
and then we want to celebrate a whole month of Black historyness.
Yeah. Okay. Pause right there. Pause. Pause. Pause right there. Pause right there.
Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there. Pause right there.
Winston, what's going on? Winston, what's going on? You're coming in, but yeah, I'm getting so many
But yeah,
feedback,
I'm
man.
getting so many feedback.
Winston, I'm gonna have to ask you to come back in. Maybe if you have an earpiece or so. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. I was trying to get him in, but he was getting some feedback from inside. Yeah.
As I was saying, that in terms of our culture,
Hmm.
what do we move? Do we move the February, which is reggae month, or do we have a fusation of the celebrations, or these are two major things for us to be celebrating, and I guess it's where it's I guess it's more activities for us.
Yeah.
But
I
what's
don't
the
think why you want to remove it though, Vanessa, because the reason, you know why February was chosen for Reggae Month?
feed
Then
me in? You know, just give me the
Sorry?
background. Give us the background.
Oh,
February
so
is chosen.
February is Reggae Month because it's the birth month
Oh.
of Bob Marley.
Hmm.
Who gave reggae music its name though? Reggae itself. The
Ja.
name reggae. Where did it come from?
Ja Rastafari.
Mm-mm. Who gave? All right, out of Bob Marley and Tootsie Bert. This is becoming a school challenge quiz. Which one is older? Which one?
only if Google can only if Google can work fast enough.
Older. Children, tell us. You rang the bell.
Hold on. Let's forget about Winston. Winston, put your Winston. 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 No voice. No audio. No audio. Your audio not coming in, Winston.
Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. His mic is muted, obviously.
All right. You keep talking. You keep talking, and I will. Both of you keep
As I was,
talking.
I was asking
I'll
a
give Winston a
question.
call while you guys talking. Yeah.
I was asking a question.
Keep talking.
Is Toots Hibbert older than Bob Marley? No one
Vanessa,
knows?
Vanessa and Jody, both of you need to talk. I'm just making a call to someone. Yeah.
Go.
I'm asking you, and Bob Marley, who is older? Because I know that the word reggae was invented by Toots Hibbert.
Well, but you see, what I'm thinking though, Vanessa, even though the invention of the word, but it's who represented and, the music itself, the reggae music itself, in an international way, I think. Even though before that, what's his name? Dennis Brown was known as the Prince of Reggae music, wasn't he?
Yes. So don't you think, because I'm beginning to, I never felt this way before today, I must tell you. But after asking all these questions, I'm
It makes you
thinking now,
wonder, huh?
makes me wonder that you have
Mm-hmm.
chosen a character.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to be chosen, or maybe the most high chose a
Yeah,
character.
I think he's
And
the most fitting person because
hold on,
if Dennis Brown was seen the Prince of Reggae and then Bob Marley was crowned King of Reggae,
Mm,
then it can't be after the Prince, it must be after the King, right?
yeah.
well,
I'm
and
just I'm
Tootsie Hibbert
just debating.
who
Just,
named
just
reggae.
one moment. One moment. Winston, can you hear me?
His mic is muted. Somebody needs to tend to unmute his mic.
Yeah. All right.
Tell him to take the red X off his mic.
Yeah. And keep talking. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So I'm just saying that you have Bob Marley, you have Dennis Brown, you have Toots who is older than some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Marley, I mean, maybe I'm not saying he was chosen. I'm just saying maybe he was chosen by the Most High to be the person who was a torchbearer, and then
Mm-hmm.
everything is set around his birthday because he's Rastafari, which was all about blackness. And then it's now in Black History Month, but I guess the entire Jamaica would be prioritizing reggae. This is how we are.
Mm-hmm.
So once we are prioritizing reggae, which is a black music, black history is not properly dealt with. So we have this Black History Month. We have some polka dots of it here and black there, but our major celebration is reggae music at this time. Because when you look at the Ministry of Culture, who sets the policy in terms of what gets priority, rightly so, it's going to be reggae. But on the other hand, Black History too is a thing that needs attention.
But isn't reggae a part of our Black history, and that's why they place the significance on that? Don't you think, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Well,
Winston.
for the purposes of this discussion, or for all discussions, I may say, reggae is a part of. It's like saying the blue. What's the black music that they have in America? The Negro spiritual from America. Then that it is, and you would put it in the Black history. But what's on the school curriculum for Black history in Jamaica? The Ministry of Culture would be in charge of that one too, and we only have so much resources. That's my point. I'm just saying that I can't change it, and maybe it will never change. But for me, something is getting a shortfall.
Yeah. Winston, can you
Isn't
hear
it,
us?
Winston?
Okay. Um, he's got to use that. Winston, can you hear me? If you can hear me, put your thumbs up. Thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Use a headphone. Try and find a head. You don't have a headphone. Try use a headphone. You got to come back in and use
Unmute your
Margaret's
mic.
phone. Use Margaret's phone. Use Margaret's phone. Yeah. Yeah, keep talking there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So as I was saying, that the Ministry of Culture, who is setting the priority, because I've lived in Jamaica nearly all my life, and I'm just saying that um, I've not seen so much emphasis on Black history during this month. It's mostly reggae. Because once you give Jamaicans a choice to do anything, they are going to choose reggae. But Black history is larger. It encompasses reggae, but it's bigger. It's got more facets to it. It's got more things that you need to discuss, more things that you need to implement. I guess we can music it out then, because also we can music out Black History Month then. I
Yeah.
guess that's what we've been doing, innit? We just music it out like we music out everything else. But are we supposed to be? Is
But
there
then,
other things that
yeah.
we discuss and do?
But not, as Jamaicans,
Yeah,
still at the
that's what
same, uh, as Jamaicans at the same time, do we don't need Black History Month, do we? As Jamaicans,
we do. We
do
do.
we?
We do need a time, just like you have Christmas and you have Easter and you have Valentine. Um, because of all the atrocities that's gone on in relation to slavery and black and the oppression that is still going on, it's a time when we reflect that the things that have happened in the past, that we try to keep them away, or try to make,
Vanessa,
we don't want
my
to go back
cons-
to things that.
Vanessa, Jody was saying something.
oh, I was saying, Vanessa, do we need Black Enlightenment or Black Empowerment rather than a Black History Month? Let me tell you from what standpoint I'm coming, and Silburn has
Whatever
heard
you
this
want
from
to
me
call it.
before.
Yeah. Keep going, Jody.
Yeah, Silburn has heard me said this before because I've said it on the show before. While I will, oh Lord, people are going to be upset with me for this. While I will not call Africa my motherland, and while I will say Jamaica is my motherland, it's because Jamaica as a country and a culture within itself is something that is unique to us, just as another country is unique to themselves. But the beauty about Jamaica is that we are not just African history. And the more we grow to acknowledge that, is the more we will understand the uniqueness of our culture. Black history is a part of our culture, but it is not the only culture. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
So
do
the
understand what you're saying.
significance of what was that?
I say I do understand that it is global. You ask if I understand. Say yes, I get it. Black history is
Yeah.
global.
So
Jamaica is.
do we need Black Empowerment Month versus Black History Month?
Well, you're saying then, because we're having a policy analysis discussion here, which is where we really need to go as a world and as a nation. And you're perhaps right that what we need, you have the Black history, which deals with the historical context. And since we're having a clash with everything else, perhaps someone should start a Black Empowerment Month where we start doing the empowerment part of it. I wouldn't put it in February. I'd put it somewhere else. We could have it as Jamaicans, where we have a Black Empowerment Month, and we already have Emancipation and all of those months. We could have a Black Empowerment Month in Jamaica, and of course, everything that Jamaica does, the world takes on to it, like reggae and all of these sports and all of these things. So A Black Empowerment Month is needed. We could start it. Somebody started Black History. So now that it's come out of the discussion on talk and sip facilitators for a better Jamaica, we could start a Black Empowerment Month, say next year. But we would have to have more deliberation with the home and abroad as to which month, as Jamaicans, we would want that to be, because we are really having a challenge.
Mm.
Jordan, I think you've really
I'm gonna
touched on
ask a
something.
question to Vanessa that I'm not sure, and probably Silburn has done some research. I don't know, but didn't we copy the celebration of Black History Month in Jamaica from the African American calendar of their events that dubbed it African American what was it? What was it before African American? I
It was
think we copied from the Americans.
yeah.
So
And
we did
nothing is
not
wrong.
originate that
Nothing is
in
wrong with
Jamaica.
them. That nothing
No,
is
I'm not
wrong with the
saying nothing is
concept.
wrong, but I
I'm just
don't
saying
think we originated
we,
or
we
celebration.
didn't originate it. We didn't originate it, and because of that, we latched on to a very good concept, which is now clashing with our identity of being Jamaicans and reggae. And we're not going to change the Bob Marley month to please anyone.
So
So I just think,
let's just put into
uh,
perspective there. Isn't it that Black History Month in February is for United States? Black History Month in October is for the UK. Jamaica
Mhm.
just grab on to anything, just like how Jamaica grab on to Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
we
Reggae.
live in a globe. We live in
Wait,
a
wait,
globe.
no, no, wait a second. Reggae month is February. It is
Which is
just by
ours.
chance. It is what?
Which is ours.
Exactly. So it is just by coincidence, isn't it? Isn't it a coincidence that Reggae month and Black History Month is on the same time? It is. It is not like it's not like you're separating them. They both have play a
Well,
fundamental.
the disadvantage, Silburn, with coincidences is that they are not planned and they are not organized, and that's why we're having this discussion, and that's why we're having something getting attention and something else that is not getting attention. As we said, we would leave it because other people celebrate it who don't have a reggae month to celebrate. And we could join them because they join us in celebrating Reggae Month, because we live in a globe and we all share things, and we transplant cultures and we benefit from them. Our culture has been transplanted into other people's societies, and we benefit from it, and vice versa. But I'm not saying that, as Jody and had alluded to it, that perhaps we need a Black Empowerment Month, and I guess that's gonna clash with somebody else's country if they were to wanna be a part of it as well. But then, for Jamaica right now, we need empowerment, and the Ministry of Culture would be able to focus more on Black empowerment as a culture, and don't have it, clashing with the reggae months.
Okay.
So it came from here, yeah.
Well, okay. Let's move on from that. 'Cause that was just like setting the stage, really, regarding Black History and Reggae Month. But the question which I put out there in line with my title, it was, are we keeping our reggae legacy intact? Let's look at it that way. Are we keeping our reggae legacy intact? With so many ism and schisms and whatever is going on around with particular artists these last days, many people are actually questioning reggae music. But can I put a point here? Is it that reggae music is reggae music and dancehall is dancehall?
Well, in our culture, there has always been a demarcation between reggae music and dancehall. And dancehall is always known as a place for children, no, not for
No.
children, rather.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, these days I'm wondering if it's a child's. The way people are behaving is like they're behaving like spoiled children. Yes, but maybe I was wrong. But I'm just saying, on a serious note, it makes me wonder. Is reggae, the dance hall has always not been a place for children, and the physical dance hall back in the day was in a place, and you had no videos, you had no YouTubes, you had no Instagram, but some of the music leaked on the radio as well and on tapes, and it had gotten into the public sphere because it plays loud and children can hear it. So but I think it was more minimized in the day, the demarcation, where it was kept in a little corner and a little place, and it's only certain people that go there. But now the dance hall is in your face. The dance hall is the internet. And reggae music has always been different because it's always been more spiritual, coming from Rastafari, coming from a religious roots. And everybody knew that dancehall has gotten better because now you have dancehall gospel. They tend to use it interchangeably. When you have DJ gospel now, you have people like Papa San, you have people like Sichi, same people that were in the dance hall that crossed over, and you had Lady Saw, Minister Marian Hall that crossed over from, the dance hall and went into gospel. But the challenge that we had, that she has, is that when you are known for something, known to be a dancehall artist, and you're the queen of dancehall, in other words, and then you want to bring the dancehall genre into the church. There's a part of the church that does not even accept the Christian artists who are doing that genre, let alone to accept someone like her, and reggae music had been to that place as well. If we're making a demarcation where reggae music too was not a church music at one stage, it was known to be the devil's music. I mean,
Mm.
someone like me got into trouble for going on stage after Beanie Man finished performing when I was on the church choir and going to sing some reggae music, and I got into big trouble for it because back in the day you weren't supposed to be a Christian and be involved in it. So I mean, dance hall came after reggae, and it is still in its infancy in terms of where dance hall is not played. So when Marion Hall, Lady Saw, crossed over, it's almost as if the church rejected her, and the dance hall wants her back in its pure state. So
Yeah.
she's left in the middle and really left into, even though I think she's coming from a good place, but she was really abandoned by both the church and the dance hall. And then she sang If I Was Famous. And I mean, I guess people started looking at, because to me that song is saying that you have forgotten me. I'm no longer famous because I've chosen to be a dancehall gospel artist. And when she sang that song, the dancehall queens, the new queens of the quote unquote dancehall, felt as if they had forgotten her. So in their minds, even though it seems they are fighting, they are saying, Marianne, our lady sour, forget you, rope in back in at the camp, coming at the place, because the church people them not deal with your good. And I just say you used to feed your bread. Me could just start cuss and cause some controversy and bring it back over, because I saw them deal with for them thing in a for them world.
So
So
what you're trying to say is that the camaraderie regarding the dancehall fraternity is more
our
supportive.
maternity.
And what?
It has become a maternity now. Dance hall used to be a place where, because of male domination in Jamaica, men used to dominate the dance hall, and it's a place where they used to use it to like talk about woman and them body parts, and them are the dan and them are the king. But the women now decide that it's our body. Who know talk about it? We free for do what we want to do with the body. So we are going to do what Spice and Shensia is doing, and they are going to dominate the dance hall. So the mothers are now dominating the dance hall because Marianne was the one that started it. So now she left a legacy, which those younger people have taken on. But you know how young people stay? Because she has never, if you look at even her image, she's a woman that has not touched her physical image, in my opinion. And she will sing the things then, but she's not going to do like Spice and skin out up in the ear. She was not that graphic with her body. She was always kind of just her mouth. And I know Marian Hall. I've met her in person and been up close to her. And what I can see is she call herself Lady Saw Lady. She is a lady outside of the dance hall, and has probably, she come from a tumultic background, but
Yeah.
she has that side to her. So she feels, because if you listen to how she talks, that some things belong on stage. But
Okay.
as I said, now, the stage gone viral online. So
Yeah.
now the mothers are dominating and the men are quiet because they're having a good time looking up into women's, you know what? They have nothing to say about it.
Jody, what's your take? I mean, you're back home there. Reggae music is reggae, the reggae legacy intact because you have guys in like the culture, persons like Bonnie Whaler, Peter Tosh, and all those other persons. Those are solid foundation music. At the same time, are you hearing those type of music coming through still? Those type of music coming through still?
I
They're
mean,
not
there are
so
some stations that are still, authentic, and that will have sections of their radio programs which are segmented for reggae versus dancehall. But a lot of people don't listen to the radio anymore, so that's another story. It's most people are YouTubing it, and so you find that the younger generation, which is the ones that we are concerned will lose the essence of the reggae legacy. They are more exposed to dancehall than they are exposed to reggae. And I'm going to say this without apology that if it's not for Bob Marley, most of them don't understand what reggae means versus dancehall. Because while they will sing, like at Jamaica Days and so on, and for Black History Month, the kids are being taught Bob Marley songs to present at school. And
mm,
it is a part of the curriculum, as Vanessa was asking it is a part of the curriculum to celebrate Reggae Month more than it is probably to celebrate Black history. So they will do things in school that is a part of the curriculum that explains what Reggae Month is and what the music means. But then after that phase of it, I don't see where it is carried out traditionally in our culture yet. It's not there yet. And you have to remember, to Reggae Month is kind of new. I
mm,
mean, depending on what you call new, because it from 2008 that it was established that we started celebrating Reggae Month.
yeah.
And 2008 is literally probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago, depending on how we're looking at it.
You know, back to reggae month and back to reggae music, and it has a link a lot with the dreadlocks and just picking up some basic snippets of news, and I don't have the full shebang regarding this young lady named Nzinga, who apparently her dreadlocks was cut, alleged by the police, but the DPP has ruled that that's not the case, and a video came out recently, and I found it also interesting that during Black History Month and also during Reggae Month, the epitome or the essence of the reggae music is the rasta, the dreadlocks, and that is
Mm-hmm.
something big in the news, and it's creating a stink. I don't know if Jody you're there. I know Vanessa, you have your views. What's your take on that thing there with regarding the young lady there whose dreadlocks was cut? Well, I don't
I
know.
from I heard the case initially, all the truth was not out. This video that is now arising with the play out of it, I think it's just a very opportune time. Let me use that word for it to come up. But there are always three sides, sometimes four sides to a story. And initially, how we heard it is that that she was held down and her dreadlocks was cut off, which was not the whole truth. And seeing now, the video play out and see how people respond, it still gives them no right, if they had allegedly cut her hair, to cut her hair, despite whatever her behavior was. But there were legal implications to her behavior as well. So we were just hearing parts of the story when the story just came out. So what's the full truth? It's left up to everybody's side of the story being told.
Vanessa, what's your take on that? Because I saw you post something recently
All
that
right.
there's
What
going to be some big demonstration.
I have a full mouth on this one. I just want to say to the DPP, who shares my middle name, Vanessa, what a fabulous piece of advocacy in terms of gender. Because the DPP, the role of the DPP and how she works, she can only act off the evidence she's gotten. And the police has have their own advocacy in that they've let this video out now, and I'll go to the video in a bit, and I'll just tell you what I think the DPP is doing. Her hands are tied in terms of the corrupt and cooked up evidence that the police have brought to her, so she can only rule based off the evidence that she has, which she has correctly done, fully well knowing that we are going to be all over it. It's a fabulous piece of advocacy. I wish the Bar Association would join in with her, because now it's a Reggae Month issue, it's a Black History issue, and if it had not been let out at this opportune time by Paula, and as I said, her middle name is Vanessa, then we would not be having this very important discussion, because she knows that that decision is going to generate discussion. And though, let me just tell you that though it might not be a criminal offense, because the police has done it in terms of, they say it's not, in terms of the going in the criminal courts, it doesn't stop it from breaching the human rights of
Mm.
Nzinga. And this video for me, I am in honor and respect of Nzinga, because she was not being disrespectful. Bad behavior breeds bad behavior. She was in a taxi, and we are breathing in COVID already, and you're going in a taxi to use a sledgehammer to crack an ant by spraying pepper spray on her, and you expect her to be coming out of that speaking perfect English. I believe Nzinga was right in telling them about them bad word, because she was disrespectfully treated. The implementation of the coercive, oppressive legislation that was being levied, that was being conned down and leveled down on the people, found its way to a poor teenage girl, and the heavy-handed police, who
Yeah.
are disregarding of human rights, went to provoke Nzinga, and she stood up for her rights and tell them about them clot.
Mm.
So, in other words, Nzinga has done nothing wrong. I mean, if you look at Nanny did burn down the whole plantation. And we keep going back to Nanny, I want to talk about Black history, Nzinga is a Rasta girl.
Mm.
She's a strong girl. And once them take her in the station and hear the name Nzinga, they knew it was a true Rasta. Right? And them not do nothing with them Babylon self. Mind you, me a Christian and grew up in a church. Them not do nothing with them Babylon self. At them cut off the picnic here. I'm going to say it in a patois.
Mm.
Right? Because she was being strong, because Jamaican police, you can't ask them nothing. You have no rights. They are very disrespectful, and them try to lad it down, and you cuss them out. And because two of them staying off, say nothing to them. Two wrongs don't make one right then. And to me, Nzinga was perfectly right. The police is wrong. And I thank the DPP for highlighting this ruling that she was forced to make. She was probably coerced into making and bullied into making, because she has to keep her job. And as well, it's a lot of things that's going on. So that's for me. Nzinga's done. Nzinga was in her nursing clothes. She was going to school. She in her nursing uniform.
She's a
Nzinga is not. It's a nursing top that she have on. Nursing school.
She had on a scrub top. She had her scrub
That's
top on,
up.
yes.
So Nzinga was not going to catch man or going to commit crime. Nzinga was going to school, and you're going at the car. You never respect the future nurse and say, "Good morning, young nurse. How are you today?" You're
Yeah.
going there with pepper spray. She should have given him a black eye. She never give the police him a black eye.
So what are you saying then is that there is a massive injustice to her.
It's showing that our the implementation of our legislation, from the conviction of, even when you look at the evidence, the conviction of Nzinga, the from the approach, when you look at that, go back into that, go backwards. When you look at how the police approach a car, I can't tell you never go up and say good morning or say anything respectful, right? And that you spray the car, then you haul out the picnic in our confused state, in our uniform, I go school, and carry her in there. When she start to stick up for your rights, me I say Officer Barber, he came out on the radio. Officer Barber, we call her, the grudge girl, we fear her here, can't grow up. Me here say, she said when she come and work, she not have no conscience, and she not have no discretion. Well, it's not the exact word, but something to that connotation, right? Because I don't want them to come say what them never say, but I saw it the day in the media, and I saw me I repeat it like how me understand it, right? I get to understand that she said she don't have no conscience in the and this is a gender issue. This is a black here, a black woman, and after Bob Marley, we are hypocrites. You're talking about celebrating Reggae Month and Bob Marley Month. We are hypocrite, man. Imagine after Bob Marley and the man them go worldwide, the Marita, and people accept Jamaica as Rasta and as reggae, right? And we think say everything all right with Rasta now. You go down a Green Bay and you did kill up much Rasta down there, son. Them admit say it wrong and them give them one little chopins to have some symbolism. Right? After Rasta transplant Jamaica, Rasta the biggest thing will come out of Jamaica, which was Bob Marley. And after Rasta, far right, transplanted our culture, right, into the world and make Jamaica known. Because if I never for reggae Jamaica, nobody would know about Jamaica. The other island, them are the small island. And our island is reggae country.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yes, exactly. Yes, right. Shut up your mouth. But what about that man? What about that man? Shut up your mouth.
But you know, alright. I mean, I'm not going to put the things that are with me. And that's why this is too much murder right here in Jamaica. Can you fuck with people and you know people and you're not chatting to them. If you're never want to go there, so you kill the whole of them up in here. Just hear you. When you're ignorant,
Okay, well, she spoke, isn't it? Vanessa? Sorry,
The
Vanessa.
answer,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Uh-huh.
well, she spoke truth to injustice. And she said that that is why. So listen to what she said. Let me analyze this for you as a Jamaican. She said that's why so much murder in a Jamaica. You know why? Because the people of Jamaica feels as if the court system is and the police system is not implementing or upholding their human rights and is in fact they are taking our monies. When you look at the DPP, who was probably threatened and bad up to make our decision anyway, when you look at the police, they are taking pay on the false pretenses to abuse us as a people. And don't put anything out there and say because she's a child. This is how we treat young people in our society. This is how we treat people. You know, this is a nursing student in our uniform. She's right to tell them that is why people kill, because they feel as if the only way to is jungle justice and to take matters in your own hand. Because see, the justice system has collapsed upon the young lady, the young Rastafari, right? And we say we are a reggae country, and Officer Barber, the grudge girl as the rest of them call her, right? Because that's how we call her Emancipation Park. She cut off the picnic here, and now them are cover it up and cover up the evidence. Where is the part where she was cutting and Zinga here? You show the part where you think whoever interprets that she rude. She is not rude. Nanny would have done the same thing as Nzinga. Nanny burned them out, kill out, Ufi kill out, and Ufi dead, and Ufi run away, and Ufi live. But the
All right.
time has come where Jamaicans' back is against the wall, and we are as a people, we need to stand up. This is injustice.
Jody, what's your take on that before we move on?
As Vanessa just said something very interesting. Was that recorded? Is there evidence of it, Vanessa?
Of the
Which
cutting of the
one?
hair.
About
Or you're just speaking generally?
I'm saying to you, the persons who are in charge of recording the evidence are the police. And she knows that she has done something wrong. Do you really think the DPP is going to get hold of this and you and I are going to see it? Do you really? For me, if I was to choose to believe between in fact, even if Nzinga tore her hair out, she tore it out because of the disrespect and the abuse and what was done to her. She began to become mentally ill after the treatment of the police, and it was as a result of psychiatric breakdown. If she did tear her ear out, because she wasn't tearing her ear out before them trouble her.
So,
So,
but for the treatment,
and I heard that she was seeing her menstruation and no pad either. Listen, this is a clear case of this is an example, a glaring example of how Jamaican police treat take with pay, eat with pay, and instead of them go find real criminal, them are, why didn't they go down to Tivoli? Why they never go down to Tivoli where the gunman them a bust gunshot for them? Is strength them have for Nzinga? Is Nzinga them have strength for? Right? Them have strength for Nzinga the other day, but they don't have strength for the criminals. Our country is full of crime everywhere, and the crime is not getting solved. But look how much of them was in the room with the one like a teenage girl because them say she have mouth and because she has stand up for her right. And she them have strength, but them not have strength for the criminal. Them for go look for real criminal and left nursing students alone. You
well,
hear
anyway,
me?
well, anyway, we hope that that thing is sorted out. But But for the fact that we're
It
in
will
Black
have to go to
History,
the Privy Council. It will have to go to the Privy Council or the High
so
Court.
hang on, hang on, hang on. So I thought you wanted Jamaica to be a republic, and then you're still going for the Privy Council.
I've never said Jamaica should be a republic because I'll tell you firmly
Mm,
from, let me tell you something. I
mm,
was going to say something and I just closed my mouth. From my observation, let me just rephrase it.
yes.
From my observation, you can't trust a child in a candy store. And because of how this, look at how the DPP is ruled, I'm going to look to see, purposely we are watching you, and Zinga better be careful. They
Mm.
need to guard her that we don't hear that she commit suicide and them not kill her and say she commit suicide because a pure liar tell. Right? For me, I'm gonna sit down and watch how this one pans out. Because the court system is going to fail, the local court system, and because of the culture of the Privy Council, she might get some justice out of there. So for me, I don't think Jamaica is ready to lose the Privy Council because of the corruption. And I should not be saying that because I should be all for the independence. But you cannot, we are not ready. We are not doing things right. And
Well, well,
until we are ready, council
well,
stays for me.
they're sending Prince William and Kate to Jamaica, so to make things nice for the meantime. So that's not going to happen now. Right, Jody? You're waiting for Prince, or is it L.A. Lewis families coming across to Jamaica?
I saw that in the media earlier this week. I really have no comments on it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Because there is always an agenda.
You're right,
I know
Jody. You're right.
there is always an agenda. I don't have any comments on it. I will not comment on it because there is an agenda.
Well, as you mentioned agenda, as you mentioned agenda, let's sort of break this thing out into a worldwide discussion. Um, I don't know if you guys have been watching Canada and what's unfolding in Canada and what is unfolding in the UK and what's unfolding in America when it comes on to the joke and the COVID bit there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
From the UK perspective, one get the impression or the view that we are moving on, things are moving forward. There's no pressure. Who want to take the V, take the
Mhm.
V. Who don't want to take the V, nobody's putting that sort of pressure on as before. Of course, the same narrative is there to say take the V, which is best, but there's not that push. I mean, even nurses and the NHS, um, Vanessa, I think they're even rethinking all of that bit there where people are not going to lose their job or deployed. But in Canada, there's something there which I am baffled with the Prime Minister as to how COVID, which came in to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. And then it seems like the Prime Minister or some leaders of the world have taken on the characteristics of COVID in the sense of wanting to kill, steal, and destroy their people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's just
That's
sip
a
on that one.
good
Sip,
one.
sip.
Huh? Let's sip on that one. Let's take the character.
One out.
Let's sip on that
Jody,
one.
I
repeat that
can't
part.
manage that
Very good.
Huh?
Can you repeat it, please?
What's that?
Repeat it.
I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. I've,
one. Oh
I've, looked,
my God.
I've looked and I've reviewed it and I've drink it, take it while that I find it very distasteful that COVID, which came to rob, steal,
Mm-mm.
kill, and destroy, has
True.
served its time and it's like he's trying to get away, but somehow
Mhm.
the remnants and the legacy of him has now been imparted upon some world leaders where they are now taking it upon themselves to be COVID, to rob, steal, and kill and destroy their own people.
You're right because you know what it is, Silburn?
Yeah,
Because they don't want to. You have some prime ministers who have
yeah,
not been governing properly. Crime is out of control. Poverty is out of control. I'm throwing stones in the Jamaican direction. And then in Canada, it might be something similar where apart from COVID, they've not been doing things right. So now, what's been going on is that they have been they are used to the distraction of COVID, or they have an ulterior motive for keeping it going,
yeah.
and they hadn't milked it enough, and they hadn't bought enough shares, or they hadn't gotten enough of the corruption, whatever. So they are prolonging it now so they can use it as a distraction. And let me ask you something about the Canadian Prime Minister, because I like Boris for the purposes of this argument. Because once Boris found out that he couldn't party no more, Boris said, look here, I can't keep a party and dance and jig up. Because he was having a lot black lady and he was jigging on the little back way. And he wants to tell Boris that he can't do any more that Boris said, that was it. So now, I don't know the Canadian Prime Minister is not a party man that wants
Vanessa needs something stronger to drink.
I do not know, because once Boris find it out, as far as me concerned, say him couldn't keep him party no more.
It is indeed interesting what's happening there regarding that. But let's go on with your analysis of Boris still.
So I was just saying that once Boris found out, and then the next thing is that he was damned if he did, and damned if he didn't, right? People were saying, oh, we're wearing a mask, or this, or that. Then you say that, oh, vaccinate. A lot of the British public was good enough to vaccinate, and then the cases had climbed up so much anyway that England would be on their own red list if they didn't mind sharp. So how would the implementation of that go when you're on your own red list, because there's so much, because COVID's come to pitch tent and live among us? It had become administratively unworkable to police. And this is where individual rights, and if you've trained persons into wearing the mask, sanitizing, and another thing too, at the beginning of this pandemic, we didn't know that it was a common cold, that we could steam our face, we could drink some Guinea hen weed, we could drink some moringa tea, we could drink some lime. And once we did that, we were all right. We were treating this as some kind of weird and wonderful, not wonderful, or awful virus that, it's different from any other cold, because people have the cold every year. And only to find out it is something like or it was a bad cold, and we had to just go and do the things. But because it was misdiagnosed upon the world, and it was made to look as if it's something else, so it wasn't being treated as a common cold. A lot of people died from a bad cold that shouldn't have, because of the con, and it was benefiting some people. And also another thing that I was looking at is where COVID emanated from. China. And where it came. China had become was becoming a world power in terms of its production and its income. And then, what do you do to distract persons from that? You have a virus coming out of China, which means that people are going to stop taking goods and products out of there because them scan it and nobody now go eat. China is people import everything from China because they successfully transplanted their culture through their martial arts. Started off with the karate, and then they had the Chinese fried rice, and then they turned that into products. So now they have become a world leader. So it was very important to use something to sink the Chinese boat. So when I socially analyze China and the global phenomena and the structure that's going on, it was very important to have something bad coming out of there to get people away from buying from them and supporting them. But then whoever started it then forget that thing, or didn't take into consideration that thing was gonna spread then, and then it spread and
let me interject, Vanessa. One of the first countries to have COVID under control was China.
That's it, because the Chinese have always been.
And China did not use vaccination.
No.
In the first part of controlling COVID.
The Chinese use, what did they use?
They used Chinese remedies. They were the first ones who said we should be steaming how many times a day, we should be having warm stuff, warm tea, how many times a day, and the things that we should be doing to prevent the COVID from spreading. China was one of the first countries who came out to say, this is what we're using. Everything is falling apart. This is what we're using.
Yeah. But by the time the information had gotten out, the psychological impact of discrediting China, because they had become a global, they are becoming a global phenomenon. The psychological, everybody had turned their minds away from China, wanted nothing to do with them, washed their hands of this virus place and these germs. And then we just kept on carrying on, and everybody forgotten how it started, and
Yeah.
nobody was turning their attention to how they had controlled it, because now it had become a monster, and it has become a global thing where it's going to be which country and which superpower is going to be greater for controlling COVID. And we all, every single superpower look like an idiot
I'm
until
just yeah,
Boris rightly party it out to them, just party it out and lift it up and just end it.
yeah.
Right.
I'm just picking up from Instagram. That's a lie them feed to humanity. It was all about to make the rich even more rich. Have you heard how much money one of those companies made? Billions
Mm-hmm.
I
profit.
think our group need to sue them. I think we need to sue them for negligence, fraudulent misrepresentation. I think everybody needs to get together and sue those companies, and the money should go back to humanitarian causes. All the money that the COVID making companies, any industry that has been linked to this dreadful COVID and has made a profit, that they should be targeted, and you should have a COVID company tax, and that tax should be used to build back all the things that COVID tore down.
Mm.
Teach them a lesson that and I wouldn't mind if they could investigate, and if a few people could be jailed,
Well, you
because
know
it's
what,
it was going to get there.
I hope you don't have to wait till 50 years to do some sort of and I hope lawyers are actually really getting to the bottom of this whole thing because
Lawyers,
uh,
look, look here. Lawyers have been, they've not been being lawyers. If you look at Nzinga, the entire bar association is quiet. The entire legal
now
profession,
I was thinking
a
about
few lawyers.
I was thinking about the radical persons different countries trying to get to the bottom of the whole COVID period of time, and because they're trying to say that you won't be able to actually find out some information until about 50 years from now when we're all dead.
It's not going to be 50, it's going to be less than that. I mean, we have more effective systems now and more recording systems that made it way faster and way easier. The
Yeah.
statistics are already being tallied. So they would be able to give us a good feedback on the responses to the
You mean the
to the
implementation of
experiments.
the COVID
No,
time?
no, they would have to first present the evidence of the research that was done. And once the research, the findings and the evidence from the research has been presented, then persons with legal rights, legal actions cannot do anything until they medically present to you the research findings.
You see, it's not going to be done because of floodgates and the fact that it's going to be lawsuit against the government. Because in the vaccination, how it was done is that laws were passed into these countries that no matter if you take the vaccination and anything is wrong with you, don't forget, it's the same people that would implement the laws and would pass the laws. They're not going to, because you will be suing the system, and it doesn't make sense that you sue the system, because if the system was to pay the people, it would be floodgates and it could collapse economies. But I'm just saying, we're talking about economies here. But what about the fact that who are you going to go for? Because this was not real. These companies, I'm just saying that right now. All right, let us leave all the blame game. I'm just saying there are some fat companies around with some money now. And since we are having a bad time, I'm just thinking the government need to target them, especially for tax.
Mm,
Even though we're not making it punitive, but it's the fact that they've got a lot of money and we've got a lot of problems. So since they made laws for this COVID and they for this COVID thing, I'm asking them to make one more law to tax those companies and put it in the social welfare system.
mm.
Special tax upon them. Yeah. And if they rebel against these taxes, then we'll probably have to, start digging into the thing to make it criminal.
Somebody said, so what? Did the germs told the world them didn't put any guns to anyone heads to take them
What
back
was that?
against I don't know. it's not
Even
making
people that didn't take the vaccine had COVID. It was let loose upon us.
mm. To
But I know
take
what
them
they're
back.
saying though. I know what they're saying. That you
Mm,
can't go and take something because nobody's forced us to take it. They tried to coerce us, but
mm.
there wasn't any legislation for them to force us. So we really have those people who were coerced into taking it, have no leg to stand up on because you were not forced through law as to have taken it, with the exception of I'm thinking persons who they had tried to put out of their jobs, or they had put out, those people who were actually put out of their jobs do have reason to sue now. But England decided that they rightly decided that no, especially NHS workers. No, why would you think of letting go the NHS workers? It's a slap in their face after all they have gone through
It's
as
like
a work.
it's like Jody, who is a proficient entrepreneur with her business in the area of medical care, and then Jody make a decision. Jody, during the course of the time during this whole pandemic, has been there on the front line, doing it, doing it. We came out every Thursday, clapping Jody, but because she make a personal choice, she's now an unpersonal ungrata. Kick her to the curb. You're no more. That's how it is, like Jody. Fortunately, they have sort of
Mhm.
not put that pressure on. But I think in America they're making it very hard. In America, the funny thing, Jody, I know you have to go, but Vanessa says she want to sing a love song to you before she goes. So just hang
Well,
on
it's
there.
Valentine.
Wait, wait,
Melissa singing.
wait. Before Vanessa get excited and sing
Vanessa.
a love song. Um,
Let me Jody, let me just explain something to you. This is Black History Month. The song is
Mhm.
called Soft Love, right? If you look
Mhm.
at um how we think about love, you have nice the song is called Soft Love because it deals with the kind of man who can make a very assertive woman soft. And it's not every man can do that. As my mother always said, don't get a steel wool man that can scrub it to make you rough. So Mr. Soft Love is the kind of man that make the woman soft and nice, and the two of them just nice and the whole stay. So the
Mhm.
people grow up loving, and we have a loving society. But a lot of people are not understanding that a lot of what we have in the homes now, it's coming from in the society, is coming from the tumultic relationship in the homes where the men are not soft love. Everybody's out doing everybody in terms of being hard and harsh. If you look at the women in the dance hall, no, they're no different from the men in terms of how rough they are and
mm.
vulgar and awful and
The men
violent
the
and
men these days look very weak. The men these days look very weak and funky because
they look
they wear these skinny, they wear these, their feet are so thin, and those skinny jeans and so like that, they look so funky like a woman can just blow upon them and them drop on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Them really look funky. Huh? Them really look funky. Huh?
well, in terms of black men and the feminization of black men, and if we're alluding to homosexuality and how it started on the slave plantation, I'm not surprised that we are where we are today in terms of them turning, how sex was used, turning them into stud and breeding, and they were raped. And I'm not surprised that
Mm,
homosexuality I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but I'm not
yeah,
surprised that it is spread out among us because it has a root in slavery. Yeah.
yeah. Before I need to release Jody, but I want Jody to be blessed by um you say you're gonna
Soft
sing us a
love.
song.
Soft love. So let me just take it away. There's so many relationships in this world, but none can compare to me and Mr. Soft Love. So many twists and turns at this junction. I gotta decide. Soft love, ready love, and self love. The one I choose is the path I will travel. Spread my bed high, so shall I lie loves. His action says he loves me, but he tries to hide it. Soft love, how can I run away? You captivate me when I'm down. You will lift me up. Soft love, I never knew what to love is until you came along and you brighten up my song. When you speak, your velvet voice softens my heart. You send thrills to my spine, morning, noon, and night. And I respond to your touch, and now I can't get enough of your love, sweet baby. Soft love, how can I run away? You captivate me when I'm down. You will lift me up. Black love, I never knew what love is until you came along and you brightened up my song. Soft love. Thank you.
So that's it. That's a powerful tune, ladies and gentlemen. That is soft love, especially going out there for everyone on this, as you rightly
Even
say,
Valentine.
Valentine weekend.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's better. It's longer because I've had some work colleagues who have gone off. They're going off. They've gone off from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is Valentine. So they're spending all those days as Valentine. It's very important that in the society that we live, that the home is gentle and soft and nice, so that we have better children and better society, especially as a black race and with all the atrocities that we've gone through. As Jody Ann had rightly said, we need empowerment, we need love, we need a gentler society, and it starts from the home with soft love. Thank
Well,
you.
well, it's interesting what you said about a gentler society, because a gentler society turns out into a gentler community, a gentler
Yes.
nation. You know, but
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 if
don't
you
you?
look at, there's a law that they have, on the it's a zones of special operation law, and they have a terminology in the law called gentrification of
Mm.
society, which means taking down the zinc fences, planting up the gardens, making the place. And the only part that the police is implementing of the Zoza is the part where they cordon off the place and treat people just like they treat Nzinga and the army. They have not sent the soldiers who are eating our pay, our money. They have not sent them into those communities to plant gardens, because the law actually speaks to a policy to gentrify communities and make them softer and nice in terms of how they look. Because people will be, even if you live in a ghetto and 40 people live in a 1 yard, and you can go out to a park, to go and play, that it's got grass and football field and facilities for the kid, and lovers can hold hand in the park. At least it would bring a better mood. But I'm not seeing that part of the law implemented. I'm only seeing the boom biff baff boof baff part of it.
When I was growing up, when I was working in Kingston, uh, and I used to work with Candyman Highgate Foods in the Kingston office, and my job was an accounting clerk, and I used to pick up checks sometimes from T Getters Grand Face Commodity. Those days you pick up check, and I remember driving Ochiman country come to Kingston, fascinated. But I always find it a bit more fascinating with the areas where you pass with the zinc fences. And this was from 1990, 91. And I always say to myself, why can't there be some sort of move to taking down those zinc fences?
Well, the Zosa law has it in it that there should be a committee, and the committee is to help with the word gentrification. And I have not seen a as I said, our police are not used to that style of policing, and our military. They are used to the style of shut up your mouth, and they were happy for the COVID, because they got to draw up your mask and lock up your face and spraying you with the pepper spray was on the loose, and they would ignore that part of the law. I mean, when you speak about a legal system, it's got all the right elements written into the laws, because us legislative people who do policy and write the laws write the right things in there. But the police and the powers that be pick and choose the hard, harsh parts of the law that they are they want to they pick and choose, cherry pick what they want to do. When you look at Jamaica, for example, we have one of the most beautiful harbors in the world. And
Mm.
people have to go up in the hills with the birds to live because they are afraid of crime. Because the police are not target our culture of solving crime. You know, people in England here, if you go to the courts, you'll find out how much kidnaps and murders here, but they don't they don't put it on they don't put it on the news because it drives away tourism, and they do whatever they can. And when I look at that society there in Jamaica and this one here, they do whatever they can in terms of putting up cameras. Well, and they do as much as they can to try to solve crime. There's our system is about reporting crime. It's not about, it's the emphasis is not on solving crime. And crime has become a distraction then to the economy, and building the economy and looking after the young people. And if the plantation still continues and the plantocracy is still at large in terms of how we treat our people. And it's very sad that Young and Zinga in Black History Month, in Reggae Month, that Arasta, the officer Baba, has trimmed her. And as I said, the DPP, your hands are tied in terms of the cooked up evidence that the police has got. But we've got to do better as a society. We've got to do better as a country. We cannot be disrespectfully implementing our laws. We have to do better. And the citizens of Jamaica, I know we love reggae, but we can't sit down and listen to RFM all day. We can't sit down and listen music all day, because that's why you have a strong emphasis in Black History Month on reggae music, which is good, the reggae music, but it has become a number. And something is numb in your conscience. The weed smoking is a national pastime amongst a lot of the young people who should be advocating for their own rights and be standing up. Um, there's no emphasis on trying to educate people. So right now, people just sit down and smoke the weed and listen to reggae. But Bob Marley speaks about consciousness in reggae, and that's all. He was the kind of man who get up and do things, and he was conscious. And Bob Marley, through his music, was an advocate and a man that said, get up, stand up for your rights. Um, and if we're celebrating Reggae Month and Black History Month, and police still a trim Rasta, because if it was somebody like me that was there with my normal hair, they wouldn't trim me. It's because of the political significance, and the fact that they're shoving down coercive legislation on people, and they feel that the Rastas were going to be the type that were not into the vaccination thing, and they wanted to make an example of her. So that's why they did to Nzinga what they did to her. And it's got to stop. So that's what I've got to say. So as we were saying, I want to sing you another song from Bob Marley. I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together with a roof right over our heads. We'll share the shelter of my single bed. We'll share the same roof. For Jah provides the bread. Is this love? Is
This
this
is
love?
love.
Is
This
this
is love.
love? Love that I'm feeling. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Yeah, yeah. Bob Marley said, you know what Bob Marley said? I wanna know now. I
I
got to
wanna
know,
know
got to
what I
know,
know.
got to know. I'm willing and able. And so I roll my cards upon your table. I wanna love you. I wanna love and treat you. Love and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together with a roof right over our heads. We'll share the shelter. Well, off my single bed, we'll share the same roof. Yeah, for Jah provides the bread. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Black love we are deal with. Yeah, this is love. This is love. This is love. Black love we are deal with. Yeah. Oh yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know now. Oh yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, I know. I'm willing and able. And so I put black love on the table. Say, I wanna love you the black man's way, which is the right
Okay.
way. Thank you.
All right, Emik. Melissa, that's awesome, man. You you clicked in. You clicked in and just licked the rhythm right by lick the rhythm left.
I realize. Anyway, thank you all. My album comes out in March, and
Yeah,
I'm
no,
inviting everyone to.
Before we go any further, let's deal with this thing, because you've been dropping these nuggets each week and these different songs. Tell us about your album and your pending launch. Tell us.
Well, my
Yeah,
my launch is gonna be the first part of the launch is gonna be in Shropshire in England, which is in between well, it's closer to Telford and Stafford in the middle, not far from Birmingham. That's part one of it. And
I know that area. Yeah.
album is gonna be called, it's with the Harper Adams Music Society, which the Harper Adams University is a farming university that has a music society, and I've been part of the society by living in the community. The album itself is called Love, Life, and Reggae. And my song on it that called Life Goes On, it's about my response to COVID, that in spite of the doom and gloom, the conspiracy, life goes on. And then there's a song on it called Crazy Love. It's and the song is about really black love. It's about, like, that song is about an uptown woman that falls in love with a Rasta man like Bob Marley, and all hell breaks loose because they don't realize that they're both black people, despite the fact that one has got locks and the other one is from a different society. So it's speaking about black love and prejudice and classism that can creep into love affairs. So
Mm.
it promises to be that kind of EP that is about life and all the things that we go through in life. And then there's gonna be a part two of the launch in London, and then part three will be in Africa, because it's it's got to do with blackness, life, and I don't do anything without Africa. So I mean, a lot of the songs were mixed and mastered by my African brother Nicholas Owiti, called "Q the Dawn" in Tanzania. One of the song is actually sung in Swahili and English, and it's called Ghetto Sound. It's about the song of the realities that are facing the people in the ghetto, especially during this pandemic. I mean, they've been totally forgotten, you know.
Did I introduce you to Tato Cash? You did meet Tato Cash, my South
Pardon me?
African Tato Cash.
Oh yes, I did meet him, and we promised to start doing some work together, me and him, in the future.
Yeah, because theater is very good because the music that I keep playing sometimes is theater's music. This particular track here, which I play,
Can I hear?
that's his music.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, man. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
so that's
So
that's
for me, it's
theater's
very
music.
important to go. For me, it's very important to go back to Africa with
Yes.
my music. And I must say that despite my son is half Nigerian,
Mm,
and despite being Jamaican, I must big up all the disc jockeys in England because they really treat me royal.
yes.
And the British public here in Shropshire, in the UK, I mean, it's a very British community. You don't see a lot of people like me around here, but I must say that even though we're celebrating Black History and Black History Month, I must say that it's very important in celebrating your blackness not to walk around with a chip on your shoulder, and to
Mm,
know that people are people. Do not become like the oppressors in
yes.
terms of your behavior. Treat people as people because that is where they went wrong. And
Mm,
that is why you find England that England has so many laws against racism now, because there are some people in the British society, for example, being the motherland from Jamaica, we were enslaved by the British. You have a lot of laws now in that they recognize what they've done, and they've put laws in place to stop racism or to minimize racism, or so people can be compensated. And
mm,
that's very, very important. And so on. So it's very important that as Black people, we are also open, because for me, since I've come into a community like this, I've had nothing but love from the British public here, who are, if you want me to be politically correct, they are white. And they have been very nice, very helpful to me in terms that I'm even doing my album launch in this community. I could go and doing it in London, but because the Music Society and the Royal Navy Society and the people of Shropshire have been so receptive of me, I mean, their kindness as a people led to my starting part one of my album launch here.
yes. Yes. Well,
Yeah. And I
that
must pick up one particular person. She's called Jute, and she has a guitar shop on Newport High Street in Shropshire. And she was at the head of all of this,
yeah.
integrating me into the community as a person of color.
Yeah. Well, listen, Vanessa. Listen, as usual. Thanks for that, and we just keep at it. Keep the pressure on, and we can't slack up. We have to call a spade and stop
Yeah.
being what should I say, a yes man or a yes person, and don't want to. We have to be critically analytical of things which are happening around us. We can't become pion and
No,
thank
you
you.
can't just sit down and smoke weed and listen music
Yeah,
all day, and not dealing with reality, and your society is falling apart. What reggae month are you talking about when and Black Month when the whole society is falling apart? And Bob Marley in his songs that he sings people are not even listening to Bob Marley, they listen to Skin Out Your Pum Pum. And I say that with no
yeah.
apology.
But
Because Bob Marley would not
yeah.
like what's going on,
But
you know.
the funny thing is that in Canada, and I forget the video. I was gonna play it, but no, I wouldn't play it because copyright. But they're using Bob Marley's song "Get Up, Stand Up for you, Stand Up, Fight for your rights." Get up, stand
And
up.
Jamaicans are not. They're
That's
not
what.
standing up for their right. And Zinga is on her own with few people coming out in support of her. And you're celebrating Reggae Month with the biggest thing out of Jamaica being Bob Marley. You're cutting Rasta here and Jamaican people sit down. I was a part of the protest when I was there, and very instrumental in making sure that that I made my voice heard. I mean,
That's
come
very.
on, Jamaica, wake
That's
up.
very. Yeah, that's very interesting. What you're actually saying there about the lack of support, because it's like people asleep. And you mentioned something, or somebody said it. I think it was you, that when the minister said that they are creating programs, a person who got the joke, and I think you said that it's good because the music and the sports put
It keeps them quiet.
quiet people down.
Yeah. It was about the stadium. We were having a discussion about the
Yes.
fact that they were gonna put on. They were having which championship are they having? They're having this large sporting event, and they said that was it. They had tickets only for persons who are vaccinated, and
Hmm.
we were speaking that that's a debacle. If you were saying COVID is still alive, if has ever been alive, but has ever the bad cold is still alive, right? I'll redundant COVID to a bad cold, and you want to stop the bad flu from spreading. how are you going to when you have a policy government? Let me speak to you. You have to look at administrative workability. How much people the stadium can hold? Silberna asking you how much people it can hold.
I have no idea. I
All
know.
right, say it can hold 10,000 people.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, 10,000 vaccinated people. Right. How are you going to police the IDs, prove that the IDs are real because of how the ID cards are made? And if you even say people have to show the vaccination card, I mean, I could make any fake vaccination card and show up at the stadium and you would let me in because you're saying I'm vaccinated. No, that policy is administratively unworkable. And even if
Mm,
you were going to go into the database and select names and people had to show the IDs, there is no way of guaranteeing that A is B and B is C, or
mm,
A is B and B and B is B. So it's administratively unworkable. And not only that, it's a shame that you're using our good sports that
yeah.
Usain Bolt and the athletes have ran around for to now use it as a tool to carry out your COVID agenda. And because they know that the people love to watch the sport and them like to listen to the reggae music and they love the weed, them use those three things to numb us. So let me tell you something. Continue being numb
All
and see
right.
what's good and see if your society, as Silburn just said, Canada is using Bob Marley music to stand up. So you're talking about reggae month and in Zing Rasta trim and most of Jamaica just down at them here. Yeah man, one love.
Mm,
Yeah man, they Rasta get trim. And nobody say nothing.
mm, mm. Eh, listen. Have a good night. Have a good
All
week.
right, we get there.
Enjoy Valentine. Keep singing soft love to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get your Love Life and Reggae album. When
Love
you
Life and Reggae album out in March. And I'm
and you let
inviting everyone to.
you let people know how to get all of it. Yes. Later
Yes.
on.
And to also join the live stream because it will be streamed. The
Okay.
launch will be streamed as well.
Yes. And of course,
Well, Silverman will be one of the persons who are streaming it.
yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome.
All
Thank you.
right.
Take
Okay.
care, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bless you. Cheers. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. And it was a very good show. Had some good glitches, I must say, glitches which still always trying to find out all of these little issues that create problems. But I believe at the same time, this is yes, it's very important that we recognize, as today when we're talking about Black history and talking about Black history, talking about reggae month, and all of these things which are so really important. And thanks for Venice for coming on, and thanks for Jody. I do apologize for the glitch earlier, but hey, what can I say? You just got to keep going on sometimes and just go through like a boss, no matter what. Sometimes you got glitches in life or so, but you just got to just keep going. The most important thing is keep going. And at this time, I believe the wonderful thing is that the world somehow is getting a bit better now. Yeah, I think the world is getting a bit better now. We're seeing, COVID is taking a hike, moving away. Unfortunately, some governments want to hold on to the remnants and the legacy of it by wanting to rob, steal, kill, and destroy their own people, which is very unfortunate, I would say. Very, very unfortunate. Very sad at this time. But I believe still that we have to stand our ground as people and believe in who we are, believe in ourselves, and make sure you tonight you have a good drink, you go to bed, Valentine, drink some water as well. Make sure you do some exercise. Get out there, exercise, get your feet, do some skipping, do some jumping, do some running, and all those sort of things. Have a fantastic life. And so remember to like and subscribe. Follow the live next week. See what's going to happen. Next topic. Let us know what topic as well, and we'll take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. God bless you. Peace out, and enjoy rest of the week. That's Uncle Sid there.